Tonight on the Garage Mind, I'm super excited. I get to talk to Tony Brown, the host of Lessons from the Pit. His show is all about, he's found a way to tie barbecue into life lessons. And I kind of want to pick his brain and kind of see how he came up with that because I think it's super cool and it's a unique way to do barbecue and life lessons. And I think it's, like I said, it's super cool. It's a different approach. And I want to learn, listening to the podcast. I love to talk to people who are very passionate, and you can tell he's a passionate man. And what he does, he cares about, and he cares about his life and the people in it. And I kind of just want to sit down and have a conversation with him, and learn what he's all about, as we do here on the Garage Mind. So, guys, do me a favor. Thank you for tuning in. Pour up something to drink. Sit back, whatever it may be, a bourbon, water, whatever you want. Enjoy, because this is going to be a good one as we learn about Tony Brown, the host of Lessons from the Pit. Welcome back, everybody, to the Garage Mind. I'm Tony, as always, and today I have Tony Brown from the Lessons from the Pit. Nice to finally get you on here, man. I know it's been a while. We were going back and forth for a minute, so it's nice to finally talk to you. So just a little background. I love doing podcasts as well, like you. And I was listening to your podcast, and I love how you have a really nice, and a different. I haven't heard that before, like a twist on real life mixed with barbecue. And I like that.
Yeah.
And I just kind of want to talk about how you got started and your journey. And I think my listeners would really love to hear your journey.
All right. Yeah. Hey, everybody. I'm glad to be here. Yeah, it took us a few times to get everything nailed down, but yeah, I'm glad to be on and glad to be hanging with Tony here. So, yeah. So my podcast, yeah, it's Lessons from the Pit, and it's taking just that, lessons from the barbecue pit, and turning that into lessons for life, and how it affects us as men and how that can relate to us as men. And so that's just the years of cooking barbecue and smoking meat and how all of those things just kind of played out and kind of rolled through my brain. So just a kind of my story. So for years I was working in corporate accounting, and I was doing some extra side jobs and doing different things, and just kind of rolling. I have 3 kids. My boys are, they were crazy. So they were always wild. So we were always doing stuff with them. And I was like, man, I need something to slow me
For
down.
yourself. Yeah.
And I was like, I need something for myself. And I've always had that desire. Like back when we first got married, when my wife and I got married, I got this little tiny grill, and I was like, hey, I'm going to cook for my wife, It was terrible. I mean, it was terrible, but it's what it is. You got to start. So, I got a smoker. I got an offset from, a local store, and it's just a cheap smoker, but it was what I needed to get started. I actually use that thing still, man. Like it still works. I've had to learn, I learned how to cook. It's just something from Sam's Club. It's an offset.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah. It was the first thing that I bought probably 15 years ago. And it was, it was one of those gas grills / smokers. And that was, I mean, I had no idea right at the time. And I was like, oh, this looks cool. Like, and it's got the gas side, and I could do that too, and so, picked that up and got going on it and started learning from that. And I'm like, if I can learn on that thing, then I can cook on anything. So, cause it's terrible, it doesn't hold heat. It's hard to keep the coal base going. But anyway, I got into that, and I fell in love with it. Just fell in love with the science behind it. Fell in love with the time just sitting around, guys coming over, my father-in-law comes to town, he hangs out with me, just some of that, sitting there early mornings and it's cold, and you got the smoke rolling and the smell, and, so I just fell in love with it, fell in love with figuring out how to cook different meats and what wood works with different meats and all that, and how to, thin blue smoke. Cause I remember, man, when I first started, it was barreling smoke, and I'm like, that must mean I'm doing it right. Oh no. Why does this taste like trash? Yeah, why does it taste like trash?
Oh, the heat's there. I throw it on. It's just, oh my God, it tasted horrible.
Yeah, it was
Same thing.
terrible. Why am I? This is ashtray that I'm eating, So, figure that all out, and I spent time just doing that. And then I got hooked up with a local barbecue joint here in town, or in Northwest Arkansas. I had a friend that worked there. I came in, I met the owner and started talking about doing, part time stuff because I was still doing accounting, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't know. Let me see," and he finds me one day. I was down there and he was like, "Hey, you still looking to do this?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "I need a Saturday morning, early morning pit guy." And I was like, "All right." So I came in and I was rolling that thing myself. And so started working cooking barbecue part time, and then uh kind of burn out with accounting and different things, just working 20 hours a day, at in the corporate world. It was not right. And I was like, man, I got to do this full time, just do some barbecue full time. And I did that for about 3.5 years. So I went full time at Wright's Barbecue here in Northwest Arkansas. I was the
Right.
assistant pit manager at the Rogers location, and just rolled with some barbecue, man. And it's way different than cooking at home. Cooking at a store that's cooking for two different stores, and all of
Uh-huh.
that, stadiums and different things. I mean, it was definitely a different experience, but a learning experience, and having to teach guys, the new guys that come in, and show them things, teach them things like stuff like, this is why you do this is why you slow this down, this is why you put this here, this is why you rotate this is why, it's just all those kinds of things. And so anyway, that's kind of my barbecue journey there. And then
Yeah.
in the middle of that, coming out of the corporate accounting and slowing down and having time to just open up, and like my mind is starting to race, because I really lost, man, I lost track of my family. I lost track of my boys, like my wife. I remember one of the last things that made me quit and step back was when she asked me something. Hey, what do you think we should do for the boys? I'm like, I can't tell you what our boys even. I don't know anything about them, because I
Uh-huh.
stopped to go eat. I don't even stop to eat. I still stop to go to the bathroom. I don't know my boys anymore. That's crap. That's terrible. That's horrible. And dude, it broke my heart. And I was like, okay. So I slowed down. When I did that, it just started, man. I was sitting there one day. I was just sitting at a men's thing, at a men's breakfast. We were having pancakes. I have no idea what
Nice.
they talked about. I have no idea what the whole thing was about that day. I just remember it just started flooding my mind, and it was like the heat. The heat represents this, and the meat represents this, and the hot spots represent this, and and it just like flowed. And I came home, I wrote it all down, and I was like, oh man. And this is stuff that I speak to myself, right? The stuff
Yeah.
on the podcast is the stuff I'm telling myself, right? So that's kind of how Lessons from the Pit started. My wife's like, dude, you got to put this in a book. And I'm like, well, I'm also trying to live what I talk about, which means I can't
Absolutely.
always do everything all the time, So I'm trying to live by that. There's some things we've had some hard times in the last couple of years, just with some like just stressful stuff with things happening with family and loss and different
Absolutely.
stuff. And I'm like, I had to slow down. Like I had to say, okay, I can't always put a podcast out every week, and that's fine. But I'm going to focus on what my wife needs, and I'm going to focus on what this family needs, and I'm going to focus on the things and be intentional. So that's kind of where all that landed. So
Uh, just to let you know, Tony, that's kind of why I wanted to talk to you as well. Not only do you have a great first name like me as well, but
it's great.
I I really related to you, and I'm letting you know, like, keep doing what you're doing. I love the show. I related to you because I also, like, I do the podcasting, and then obviously I have a full time job as well. And then,
Mm,
I kind of got into the social media thing too. And the same thing. Like, I'm a very passionate person, and I like talking to people like that as well. And so are you. But sometimes there's got to be a break. My wife will tell me sometimes, hey, do you want to watch a movie? And I'm doing this or I'm doing that. And then time slips away, and you realize that I've had the same situations. I've had to step back and say, what's really important to me. She is, and
right.
my family. So, I like to listen to your show. I was hooked right away because I heard what you were talking about, like how men put a lot on themselves, and I grew up that way too. I'm Hispanic, and in the Hispanic culture, you're a man, you take it, you move on, you don't cry, you don't deal with it, you just go. And
Yeah.
I'm getting older, my wife actually works in the mental health field. So she kind of, talked me through that and realized like we don't have to carry everything alone and we don't have to take on everything and we can so I just related to that because you were doing an episode and you talk about it a lot about, what you learned from barbecue and how you're putting that towards your life and applying it. And as
Mhm.
men, we tend to take on too much, and it can be overwhelming. And I love that because I related to you a lot on that, and I felt that message, and I feel like a lot of people like I like to talk to passionate people, but I also like to talk real life as well too, the stuff that we kind of don't talk about. And that's
Sure.
one of the topics. You need to spread yourself out, and be there and realize what's really important.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And that, I mean, I think that, across the board, men, like we were saying, you were saying, men, we just tend to take it on. That's just how we're built. That's how we're raised. That's how we're taught. Men don't cry. Men don't, you just buck up. You just roll with it. It's like things,
Yeah,
and there are those things, right? Like I've talked to my boys about this. Like there are times where you just got to deal with, what the moment is happening, and then you got
yes.
time. I've had, I remember an accident that I worked, a motorcycle accident. I'm not an EMT. I don't know any of that. But like you just get in, you do what you got to do. You get this dude taken care of. The EMTs get there,
Yeah.
and then you can kind of sit back and be like, "What the crap just happened?"
What just
But I mean,
happened here?
yeah, it's like, but this is what I mean. That's what we're taught to do, and I talk about community a lot, and community. I say it every time that community is, it's one of those things I want, but it's one of those things I don't want, and so that's a struggle.
That's
Like
true.
I love it when I love it. I love it when I want it. And then those times when I don't, I'm like, don't bother me. Like I don't want to do this. And there's times where the community of guys that I know, the community of people that I'm talking to or trying to reach out to my community and things, it has to take a backseat for a day. It has to take backseat for a little bit because my community right this minute is my wife, it's my sons, it's my, so those are those times where that community I like a little better. I try
It's
to
a little,
I
little,
try to
little
hang more with that.
it's a little not easier, but better to navigate. More rewarding. But
Yeah, yeah.
that's kind of too why I started listening to you as well. And for anybody listening too, so how? I mean, I know it's a big question, and nobody really has the answer, but what do you try to do going forward to try to like navigate all that as well? Because I'm kind of in that middle area too, where I've only been doing it for a little while now, about a couple years, and I'm trying to trying to figure it out as I go as long. So anybody for listening that kind of wants to know how do you navigate that a little bit?
Well, I mean, if you just talk about, the lessons from the pit, like I'm gonna throw out one, talking about the heat and the heat's kind of that's the consistent, that's the consistent growth or consistent pouring into you. For me, I come from a religious background, and so for me, coming from ministry, like my relationship with God, that is first and foremost. And so if I don't have that, then I can't face the day, man. Like it's a whole different.
I
I make
agree.
the wrong choices. I just do the wrong thing. So
Something's
for
not
me, the
right.
heat's that consistent, and if it's not a religious side, then it's meditation, it's reading, it's growing. And so for me, that's the kind of the number one place I start is like I've got to have that consistent time and consistent place of conversation with God. But then I've also had to build out like a morning rhythm, an evening rhythm. Um, I've had to learn to start. I've got a startup time and I got a shutdown time. And back,
Consistent.
y- yeah, it's consistency. And so I have things that I do in the morning, and then I've also got, um, I've had to design, um, everything's intentional, right? Like everything is I'm sitting down and saying, "Okay, I'm designing this week." So like tonight was set aside for you, for this interview. Well,
Thank
that's
you.
what's happening. And it's so I mean, like, and that goes on my calendar and that stays on there and that's planned and that's part of my weekly review. When I'm reviewing my week and I'm setting up my low and slow week for myself, that's what I'm doing. And I'm setting up and going, okay, these are the things that I have to do. These are the non-negotiables. These are the startups. These are the slowdowns. These are the times, which 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock starting a little. You're starting to get me in that slowdown mode.
Yeah,
So I'm
believe
hoping
me,
I'm firing on all cylinders here.
I
So
started at 4 a.m. Believe me, I'm with you. I was like,
yeah,
man, I had to work late today. I was like, oh yeah, it's gonna suck. See, this is what I'm talking about too. I'm taking it on right now, and I was, because we had it set, and I also don't break promises as well, and I know you're taking time out of your day as well too. So I was like, damn, I gotta get home. I gotta do this.
well, I saw that and I was like, stuck at work. Man, I get that. Totally get that. I understand, so it's what happens. I mean, because that's part of it, right? That things change. I mean, if you're cooking
Yeah,
barbecue, it's going to change. The weather changes. The wood, for some reason, you get a bad case of wood. A bad case of wood sounds stupid, but you know what I mean?
no,
Like
you're good.
things
I get
change,
you.
man. Things happen and
Yeah,
you got to adjust,
little
and
gust
that's
of wind and the temperature
part of it.
goes up, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It spikes and you're like, well, I gotta make adjustments. I have to make adjustments. So, but
So
it's very much intentional.
intentional is the word I was gonna say. I like that a lot. Intentional. From a little bit from, I did mixed martial arts for probably I did martial arts my whole life. But what I learned from that and I try to apply is exactly, and it's nice to hear another adult male say the same thing as well. Like intentional and repetition. You said earlier that you do
Mhm.
everything with intent, and that's what I learned. So it's every day for me. It's this is what I want, and I'm religious as well. So it's um, it's in the morning, thank you for waking up, have my conversation with God, and then whether
Mm,
workout or meditation as well. And everything I do is for a purpose, and I try to stick with that. And I
sure.
found that my life, although it's still a little crazy, I don't think you can ever perfect it, but
No, 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 I agree.
you place your priorities in the right place, and that's what I like. That's what I said. That's what I liked about your show, and I love your show, man. Keep it up when you can.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you.
Lessons was very good because I got into barbecue as well. Kind of want to go over there for a little bit too.
Yeah.
What is your favorite cook or something that you cook and everybody loves? Just
Oh, dude, no, nothing beats bacon burn ends. Nothing beats bacon burn ends. In my head, like, that's my favorite thing to cook. Like, there's something about, I mean, uh, I you get these cubes and you've got this bacon lined out and in kind of the symmetrical order, in my head, but then, and
no,
maybe that's
I
the
get it too. I
accounting
gotta
in me,
have it perfect.
it's just gotta have
I'm
it.
the
Yeah.
same way.
Let the flow go. But dude, when it starts getting the color and then it starts getting the texture and you pull that thing off and you pull a piece of those off and the fat is just rendered and
Oof.
I mean, it's freaking meat candy. It's amazing. And what's sad to me is that most people don't get to take it the way that the pit masters get to take it. Like you can pull it off the smoker, you get to eat one right there.
Eat it off. Yeah,
Dude, it's totally different than it's been sitting in the warmer for the last hour. So most people don't get that, but that would be hands down my favorite thing to cook. Takes about 3.5, 4 hours, and it is just golden.
I'm
So
actually. If you got recipes, let me know because I'm not very good at that yet. I'm trying to get there. Trying to get there.
all right.
I just don't
Yeah.
get that caramelization that I need, and it's not quite. I'm very hard on myself as well too, so I need to be perfect.
Yeah, I
But
would think the mixed martial arts, you got some perfectionism in there, and like this is what it's supposed to be like. So, and there is a point, man. Yeah, it's bacon burn ends, but that doesn't mean I want to burn it. And there's a point where the fat and the texture of the meat it's perfect. It goes too far. It's
that's where I'm
lost.
at. It's either too little or too far. I don't quite have it yet. But
Yeah,
with life repetition, I'll eventually get there. Um,
sure.
so with the barbecue side of it, are you still working that? What are you doing now?
Right now, I am actually not cooking barbecue at any place right now. I took
Okay,
a break from that. I went back into corporate accounting for several reasons. One of the reasons being like I need to prove to myself that I can work corporate accounting and still live by these rules and still
absolutely.
live by this lesson. So that's one of the reasons I went back to it. So I actually was up until October, about the end of October last year. I was working part time for last year, and it was one of those times I got to stop. Like I need my Saturdays, I need my time with my kids, I need my time with my wife.
Yeah.
We had some things going on that needed my full attention, and so yeah, yeah, yeah. So the the time we had some things going on and I just needed to slow down, but I am still cooking at the house. Like that is, I still have my
All right.
smoker.
I
So
was gonna say.
I'm still doing barbecue and I get an itch, man. Like I just recently I went by and saw the guys in the pit a few weeks ago and I was like, man, I got to get like, can I just stop in for a little while and cook, you know? So I do. And my oldest, he came into town. We cooked something the other day. And so,
Nice.
yeah, I'm still cooking. I'm just not doing it the same way.
So just a little bit about the podcast you know, for my listeners who don't know exactly what the podcast is, you want to just give like, you know, your why you started it and what it's about and what the message is you're trying to convey in that in your podcast?
Sure. Yeah. So the podcast is based on the lessons. There's 10 lessons from the pit that I've learned over the years and that I've kind of put in. And this is what I teach on the podcast. And I mean, it's teaching these lessons because I say at the beginning of the podcast, like I want guys to learn these lessons so much sooner than I did. Like I don't want you to have to
Mhm.
be 45 years old, 46 years old going, oh dang, I got this wrong. I want you to learn that so much easier. So that's kind of where that podcast came from. It's like, how do I get this out? How do I start talking about these things? How do I teach some of these lessons and talk about it to guys? And so it's about barbecue. That's the hook, right? Like it's about barbecue because what guy doesn't want to talk about barbecue, right? Like I could talk about
Absolutely.
barbecue all day, man. So
Me too.
and it's actually easier for me to talk about barbecue than it is to talk about lessons, right? So but I mean, who doesn't like talking about barbecue? And then if we could talk about it and then still have some stuff, so one episode may be strictly barbecue. One episode may be strictly a lesson that I'm
Lesson.
talking about. So the main idea of what I'm trying to get guys to learn is that it's a mix, right? But dude, we don't have time to if I tell my wife that my wife is important and my calendar shows that I'm everywhere else but with my wife, something's wrong. And I'm
Painting.
not
Yeah.
saying anything. So I want you as men I want us to build that legacy. I want us to leave that legacy. I want your kids to know who you are. I want your job to realize what kind of man you are and that if you say you're going to do something, you're going to do it, but you're also going to set boundaries, right? You're also going to say, "Hey, I'm coming back, but I refuse to do these things." Why? Because these things are important. And so I want you to be men. I want men to be men that live it out, that live out what they say is important and
Practice what you
practice
preach.
what you preach. Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm going. And like, man, you got these things like fire adjustments. Fire adjustments are simple. You can just flip a log, man. You just flip the log and the fire kicks back up. That's a habit, right? It's a habit. It's a small habit that you can put in like, all right, in the morning, I'm going to get up and I'm going to do X and it's going to take me 5 minutes, but it's going to make a whole huge difference in what my family sees or what my business sees or what my friends see. So it takes me 5 minutes to create an automated message to go out to a group of guys, so it's
Yep.
doing those kinds of things and just really focusing in and being intentional. I love the word intentional. I feel like I say it all the time,
No, I like it. It's
but
good.
it's what it is. It's intentionality because otherwise
Absolutely.
you just float through. You float through and you look back and you're like, what did I do for the last 20 years? I don't know,
Absolutely.
you know?
That's a big thing too. I agree. Intentional is a big thing, especially getting older.
Yeah.
Um, you know, life goes quick. I mean, I'm sure you know that as well too. And to not do things intentionally or do things you love and passionate and be passionate about it, and and grow up with your family. You look back and what did you really do?
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a life I'm trying to do for myself or wish that upon anybody. And another thing that you really convey really well, and I love how like I love to like I said I love to talk to passionate people, but real is also a side that's hard to do. And I feel like I the podcast has helped me be real with myself, but you're always whether it was hard or not, and you can tell sometimes maybe it was harder to talk about. You've always been real. Like you don't sugarcoat it. You don't, spite. I feel like people with the real conversations we need to have that we don't have anymore,
Mm-hmm.
whether we're just not facing it, especially it's so easy now with with social media, you just scroll through something and forget about what the real problem was. But I feel like we used to talk, but community was big. We
Yeah.
used to get together, we used to talk,
Yeah.
and now the way society is now, it's kind of just set up. Not, social interaction is kind of out the door, and that's why I started the podcast.
Yeah.
And I miss that. And like right now, we're talking. It's the first time we ever met. You're in a whole different state,
Right.
and I'm realizing I'm a lot more like you than I knew. And it's just it's that, and I would never know that if we didn't have a real conversation.
Sure.
And I love that. On that topic, was there ever like an episode, or for anybody listening, that you were very proud of, or very real with yourself, that you want people to hear, and to hear that, and sort of, so they can be heard in that situation as well?
Uh, that's a great question. I don't think I've really. I'm very. I'm kind of like you,
Sorry.
like in the perfectionism side. Like I struggle every time I put out an episode. I'm like, oh, I could have done that differently. Oh, I could have,
In the
you
same
know.
way.
And so
Same way.
I would say there's probably. I don't know if there's anything that I would say would be my favorite. I would say being real was the episode of my father-in-law. And the applause for pops, so is what I called it. I would say that was one of the hardest ones for me. Just it was so raw, so fresh of losing my father-in-law. He was my father-in-law for 25 years, and so like that one, I
Oof.
would say I was, dude, you're gonna get me emotional. So that's one thing. Like I don't want to get emotional, but yeah, I knew that man for like he was 25 years as my father-in-law, but I had known him since I was like 15 years old. I met him years before I even met his daughter. And so I had known that guy for 30 something years, and he had been a mentor to me. So losing pops was a big deal. And so that one, just being able to sit back and be like, okay, this is hard. This is a hard part, but I'm going to give applause to pops because the life that dude lived and what he did for me. So I would say I'm probably most proud of that one. Just because I felt good being able to give respect and honor back to the man that did so much for me, Um, and then I would say probably, the I would say the probably one of the first ones was when I did my kind of told my barbecue story, kind of told all that, kind of talked about my life a
It's
little
wild.
bit, and just kind of where I came through and like different things of life and growing up and some stuff that I dealt with. And so I felt like that was kind of being real in that. And sometimes you
Yeah.
wonder, how much do you share? How much do you really dive
Yeah.
in? Do you get too deep?
Tough.
Yeah. So, and it's when you're just looking at a screen, like talking to you right now is different than just sitting and talking to the screen, right? So
Absolutely.
it's a different
Absolutely.
experience. But I would say probably that one. That was probably, I think, episode 2 or 3, something like that. It was one of my first few episodes. So I would think that would be kind of. So I would think that, and then if you were to listen to the applause for pops, that would tell you like there's relationships that matter, and that is a
Yeah.
big thing for me. And it wasn't always, and so I'm glad it is now. I'm glad that I can sit back and look at those and realize what was important.
Man, you hit it too, and I'll make you feel better. You're not going through it alone. The story of the father-in-law, mine's still with us.
Okay,
I call him Big Kev. He's probably listening. That's my best friend, man.
that's awesome.
That's my guy. Um, not to get emotional. It's hard.
It's just
I,
what it is. Yeah,
he's my friend, and he's my father, man. That guy, the day he goes, is gonna be very hard for me.
yeah,
And that guy has done more for me than my own father has. And I mean, he's epic to me, man. He's that guy for me. He's the man of men. Him and my grandfather, which is actually here as well too.
oh
He's
cool.
82 years old
Oh
still.
wow, that's
Still,
awesome.
still living strong.
Yeah,
And it's just I don't have a relationship very good with my father. So he stepped in a role that I needed, that I didn't think I knew. And you just said it. I really didn't care for relationships with people like that before. It was kind of just my grandfather and fuck everybody else, to
yeah,
be real. And when he came into my life, that, obviously besides my wife, that, I mean, I'd do anything for that man. That's my best friend.
that's awesome. That's awesome. I love that you have that relationship with him, that you could say that about him and feel that way about him. So yeah, I hope he's hearing that because,
Yeah, me too.
you get to say stuff that he's going to hear. Like, why do we wait until the funeral to talk about the things
Absolutely.
that it's like, tell him now, man, tell him now. So tell him you love him. Tell him you're proud, tell
That's
him.
a big thing. I try to go, and it's a sad like that we have to learn it as we grow up, but we can't know everything when we're younger.
Sure.
But that's another thing too. Like I just had a podcast with a guy. He was a crime scene cleanup guy, and I thought you know, just wanted to talk to him about the job. You see the Hollywood glamour of it.
Yeah.
That's not real.
Yeah.
And he actually got into it because you know his son committed suicide, and so there was this thing. He found a dime in his son's room when he committed a suicide, and they say when you find a dime, that it's your angel watching over you.
Okay.
And so, he goes, not only does he go clean up the scenes, and this gentleman was an amazing person. His name was Bill Murr. Um, if you want to reach out to him as well too and talk to him, he's out here in Chicago.
Okay.
I mean, this guy was so inspirational, um, and passionate. How he explained it to me is he takes people's worst days and makes them laugh and turns it into something besides pain.
Yeah.
And it's great. Like he stays in contact with those people and he makes it light and does the best that he can do for those people. And he does one thing that like I thought was odd at first, and then when he explained it to me, I was like, that's beautiful. He would take those people back to the scene after he cleaned it up,
Mm-hmm.
and he would show it to them because he would tell them, like he learned from those people and from his own tragedy that the hardest part is not getting what you saw out of your mind. And now when they see it all cleaned up and everything's out of their mind, they're lighter. They're able to sleep. They forget about it, especially first responders, stuff like that, cops. And it's just if there was more people like him, this world would be a beautiful place. He found beauty in the worst day, to help people. I thought that was beautiful. Life is short, and we gotta live it intentional.
Right.
Gotta live it
Well,
intentional.
that is interesting. I love the fact that that's what he does, because I'm with you. When you started saying it, I'm like, wait, that's a little odd. But then hearing what he does and why, dude, that's incredible. Like, because that is a terrible day. I cannot imagine. We struggled with some of that this past year, and fortunately, I
did too.
still have my son, and we still have him. But and I'm thankful for that. But dude, that was one of the hardest things I've ever experienced. So I can't imagine. I can't imagine. And knowing that he's stepping into that for men, for women, for families, stepping into a place that's just hell for them, and he's making it a place that they can see as beautiful again. That's that's powerful. Powerful.
I thought I was conveying a good message, but that's something different. That man is he's changing lives. And just one more thing I wanted to talk about with him. I thought it was really nice. He took it a step farther. With his son, he wanted his son's memory to be carried on. So he started a charity. And for all the people that deal with that as well, he gives all that money, he gives back to those families.
Oh, wow.
That he visits and unfortunately have to go through that. And I was like, this is what I love doing this. You get to meet people like that too. It's like, man, I didn't even, and you know what's funny? He lives next town, a couple towns over from me.
Oh, wow.
I was like, I didn't even know.
Yeah.
When he told me, I was like, wait a minute. And he knows, unfortunately, like my job, I'm a union job and we're kind of on strike right now. And he's been past there. I told him to come on by, stop on by. He's from the same neighborhood.
Oh,
I
wow.
was like, wow, it's stories like this and the realness, and that's why I fell in love with your podcast. Just the realness and the hardness of talking, because for a long time I was that person. I'm tough guy. I don't need to talk about my stuff. I don't need to face it, and that's just not healthy.
Yeah,
it's not the way it should be. And as men, we should be there for each other as well.
Sure,
too.
Sure.
And if I were to say that 20 years ago, I would have made fun of myself for saying that.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. It's not about that anyway. It's the community, and that's what I love too. I drink, I do bourbon as well too, and that the community that I get there, we're all adults, different walks of life.
Yeah,
and we all get together. We have a sip, we talk about it, and we're all friends. not it doesn't matter what religion, it doesn't matter what race, it doesn't matter. All of it's out the window.
Yeah.
We have community, we all get along just over something, and that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Community is a beautiful thing.
Community. And yeah, and I love that you're talking like it doesn't matter where you're from, doesn't matter what background you got. Like we all have something. We all have something in common, right? Right. That's one of my lessons is the uniqueness of like each piece of meat is different. And that's us as men, right? Like we all come from backgrounds that are different, yet very similar. And it's just, you're going to throw 4 pieces of meat on the pit. They're all going to cook this. They're going to cook differently, each one of them, and that's how we face things differently. And so, yeah, I love that you say that. Like it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where you come from. Like we can talk, we can bond,
We
we
can sit
can
down together.
share some stories and make sacred spaces here. So,
Absolutely.
well,
Absolutely.
I had a guy, it was a pit master from I can't remember where he was at. He was in town. This was about this time last year. And he got to talking. We just got to talking about like, how'd you get into this? How'd you start your barbecue places? He's got like 7 of them now. And he tells me this story. And
Wow.
then I start talking about, like, oh, okay, that's cool. So what do you serve? Like all this random stuff. And then, so you quit this because you were trying to be close to your family. And so I'm imagining that your barbecue restaurant was no longer family friendly when you're trying to open 7. He's like, dude, he's like, if I've got one regret, it's that I didn't spend enough time with my family. And he talks to me about his son that was they had a strained relationship. Right. And he's like, I didn't focus on him. I was trying to focus on the barbecue scene. And he's like, and then he has an accident and he's paralyzed and he's in hospital. And I get to spend the last 2 years taking care of him, being with him. And he's like, and I was like, oh, that's awesome that you've had that time. And he's like, well, he passed away 2 months ago. And he's like, I'm thankful I got those 2, but and he was like, man, now you got me in my feels. And
No,
the guys are like,
it's
that's how he worked. That's how Tony is, man. That's how he is. And so, but then he comes back to me later and he's like, if I learned anything, it's I've got to take time and it's being intentional. He's like, I missed out and I wasn't focused on what I needed. So I don't want us to learn that. Like, I don't want to learn that at the
Thank you.
wrong
Thank you,
time,
brother.
So I wanted to share that. I thought that story that's tough. Those are the hard things, but if you can have those moments, even if it gets you in the feels, even if it gets you in the feels. So,
like I said, I wouldn't even have those feelings. You know what I mean? If, like
sure.
it was even 10 years ago, if you would have, I would have changed the subject and,
Yeah.
and the fact that I could do that now. And, it says a lot about who I've become. And it's a beautiful thing. Life isn't all rainbows.
Sure.
There's, especially the older we get and, we lose friends, we lose family,
Mhm.
life, but every day, we woke, God woke us up for a reason. Let's
What are we gonna
let's
do
make
with
the
it?
most of it.
Yeah. What are we gonna do with it? Yeah.
Don't waste it. Intentional. I like that word. I'm gonna be using that word all week. Intentional
It's a
is a
strong
good
word.
word.
Yeah. It's a
I
strong
like
word.
that.
I took a
It
long,
is strong.
I mean, it is strong. So, and there's a lot that you could put into that. Well, and I feel like I'm going to go back to your podcast. I could tell listening because I did go back and, I originally was like, hey, you got a couple that you want me to listen to? But I did
Yeah.
start going back and I'm like, I could tell from the beginning to now just the differences in some of your opening up and different things. And I mean, you shared a story a few episodes back about a friend that you lost, and that was being real. That was being open. And so, yeah, I wouldn't have shared something like that 20 years ago. I would have just kept it in and everybody's got crap. Everybody's got problems.
Yeah.
Why does this, it's not, this is not as bad as what somebody else is going through, well, it is for you.
Yeah.
It is yours, so I appreciated that.
Thank you.
Episode, man. So that was a good one.
It's just, I love doing this, and along the way, like I said, I get very involved in the things that I love. I'm very, very passionate and very dedicated, and I just started it because I liked it. I've always liked this. Like the thought was like when I traveled for MMA and I went to different states and different places and countries. Like I met people that we're supposed to be the tough guys of the world,
Mhm.
and we had, sensitive sides, we had things, hobbies that we didn't really talk about,
Yeah.
myself as well too. I feel like I hid myself for a long time. because you had to be that person.
Right.
And that's why I started this, and I started to do things that were uncomfortable for me.
Yeah.
Started to talk about, relationships with my father, and how it was coming up in life, and that was my thought too. Like at first, like kind of what you touched on, like, boohoo me, like somebody's had it worse, But then I also had the thought, like, maybe somebody's dealing with that right now, and maybe somebody's like, I didn't have somebody, kind of like what you're doing with the life lessons. I didn't have somebody to talk about that.
Yeah.
And then obviously it kind of switched into what it is now. Like, it was therapeutic for me, and now I want to hear everybody else's story, and I
Yeah.
want to hear where they came from, and from whatever they want to share. I just love real conversations, and I feel as men, and as women too, I feel we don't have them anymore. We kind of just look at our phone, or
Yeah.
just hold it inside, and that makes life sucks when it's like that.
Yeah.
Get it out, have fun. Community is everything, and I feel like when we were younger, we were a little better at that. I don't know if cell phones ruined it. I don't like to get into those talks too, because people have their opinions,
Yeah.
and it
Everybody's got
gets
their,
pretty aggressive about certain things. Yes, AI is real, and I seen the Terminator.
yeah.
I'm worried about that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
But what I am gonna do is meet more people like yourself, passionate people who love what they're doing, and I wanna hear your story. I want everybody to know who you are.
Yeah.
And I love doing that.
That's
I
awesome.
love being able to do that.
Well, I appreciate that you do this. Like, this is I mean, this is a thing that I love the medium, right? I love the medium of the podcast. Again, I do want to start getting more people on because of having these kinds of conversations versus just
Absolutely.
talking, But I mean, it's
It's time consuming as
it,
well.
it,
That
it
adds a whole lot of
that is a
and
thing,
mental
man.
on that as well.
Yeah, that is a thing. Like, how long does it take? Well, to get it edited and to get it uploaded and to get your website on the social, like, there's a whole lot to it that people don't realize. But if you can
I'm a
have,
one-man team,
well,
so it's tough, and I know you are too as
yeah,
well,
yeah.
so trust me, yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, it's a you didn't know that when you started. You're like, "Oh, this will be easy. Like this, I can do this." Oh, okay, this is the 7th hour I've been working on this. You know,
And it's like, that's why I listen to your podcast as well. That's what got me too, because I'm kinda, I'm going through that right now too, and I've went through that in the past. Like, I don't know how to slow myself down sometimes. Like, I
mhm,
get so involved and so wrapped up. I just want to do better, 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 better.
yeah,
And it's okay to not, go 100%. It's okay.
right.
I don't have to.
And that is hard. Like, that's hard for me. And it's like, well, if I don't release an episode this week, then I could turn into, well, I didn't release one for 5 weeks, and then people won't be listening anymore. And it's like, okay, but right now I'm dealing with this, and my wife and my family is dealing with this, or dude, I'm just exhausted. Like, I mean, there's
That's
times,
the other
man.
thing.
So, yeah, that is, most people probably, I did not realize when I was talking to people about getting this started and like, what do I need to do to get this, which is where community comes in, because you've got people,
Yeah,
find people that are doing it. What do I need to do? Riverside. Let's talk about that. Like, let's talk about
absolutely.
these things. And AI is great, but AI doesn't do everything. And I want to be real. I don't want to have this, what do they call it? AI slop, It's like,
Yeah.
I want it.
Well, it's gotten really weird for as smart as it is. Like, sometimes I'll ask, like, I don't have the best vocabulary, so sometimes I'll ask to, like, spruce up a thing, and then you read it and you're like, this sounds like shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? For as smart as it is, it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
That
And
is
it's
not what
wrong.
yeah, that is not what I ask you to say. That is not anything that
Absolutely.
that
It's
has,
not the message I want to convey.
yeah, where did that line come from? It has nothing to do with it. And there are some great things, and I love AI. I love what it can do. I mean, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of things, like, for me, it's like, okay, I could say this better, or like, how do I need to word this? And
Yeah.
it'll throw stuff out, and you're like, okay, I love that. I hate that. Okay, this change this. This is not how I would ever speak ever. Like, so don't ever
Absolutely.
say that again. I would never use that phrase. So,
Absolutely.
but yeah,
Yeah, I use it to, like, edit, you know what
yeah,
I mean? Like, to be, like, sort of like a proofreader.
yeah,
Yeah, I like, and it helps because I am a one-man team, and it has its benefits. It
sure,
has its
sure.
benefits.
But it's not gonna take over me. It's not gonna take over what I do. And so, like, I mean,
I hope not.
right? Because like, it's not what gives my lessons the lessons. It's not what, like, it can tell you some things, but it's not what gives it my personality or my style
It's
or
never been
my,
through anything.
yes, and exactly. And it will actually say that, like, well, I'm not a, I'm not a pit master, so I can't, but I can give you this. And I'm like, well, that's exactly right. That is exactly right. So you're not, and
Yeah.
you don't have that human side. So, and I think, because I'm gonna stay off of it too, like the whole cell phone thing. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
don't get me
I
started.
know.
I mean, it's a thing. So, uh, and
It
I
is.
and I choose
No,
to
I'm
put it
I'm
down.
with you.
I choose to put it down. I'm like, that's not taking my time tonight. So,
I've recently, it's hard too because, like, we talked about I'm doing the editing and stuff like that. It's hard to not get wrapped up in it. I'm not gonna say sometimes, I do as well,
oh,
but
sure.
that's one I'm really really working on because I find myself I just won't even, I'll just be bored and I'll you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I always want to pick up that phone if it's not there. I grew up in a time where there wasn't cell phones
right.
too, and I forget that. And I feel like nowadays our identities are our phones almost.
Yeah,
I want to put that down. I work on intentionally work on that as
yeah,
well. I try to spend an hour, 2 hours a day, where I can't, and I know there's situations people need it for work and need to get a hold
sure.
of you, which is fine. I understand. But for me personally, yeah, I want to put it down. I want to stop,
Yeah.
maybe an hour a day, 2 hours a day, and go from there.
Yeah, because I mean, it's a useful tool. I remember when I got my first iPhone, dude, I could not. I was like, "This is amazing. This is
It was cool.
game changer. Like, all of it's here, and I can do everything here. And the calendars and all." And I'm like, "Yeah, and it's great." But there are
Yeah,
days where I come into the house and I look, and everybody. This is, I mean, not everybody's living in the house anymore. So, but back in the day when
yeah.
all my boys were here, and I'm coming in, and I'm like, I've been at work for 14 hours. I come home and I sit down on the couch, and everybody's on their phones. And I'm like,
That's my point.
yeah,
That's a bad one.
yeah, that's a hard one, and that's a hard thing to break, man. That's hard. And I think if you realizing that and saying, okay, this is something, like, this is not gonna control my time. Like, I'm gonna set this aside, for an hour. I mean, and
It
there are,
starts there.
yeah, it starts there. Like, can I do it for 30 minutes? And that's one of the things too, is like, start small, start small. It doesn't have to be this huge,
Realistic.
massive change, right? Yeah, just 10 minutes. Can you put it down for 10 minutes and just walk away? So I like that. I mean, and that's, my wife and I have had battles over that, because she loves,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna call, I'm gonna stop, because she's gonna listen to this, I'm sure. So I don't want her to be like, you threw me under the bus. So,
No.
but yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that is, looking back at that story, just that story I was telling earlier, and just like your friend recently,
Yeah.
you never know when time is up. You never know when things are gonna change, and it's like, man, I don't want to miss out. It's not, if I was, so you did martial arts.
Mhm.
I did beatboxing for a living. So I was,
Nice.
yeah,
That's
back in the
cool.
day when I
Alright.
was younger, when we were younger, you were doing mixed martial arts and I was doing beatboxing. So,
I like it. I like it.
and I did that
Oh,
professionally for a long time. And so,
really?
yeah. So for me, like, that was kind of my thing. And I'm like, oh, I traveled all over the world and did stuff and on a bunch of different albums. And then I come in and I'm a
Nice.
dad and I'm all these things. And I'm an accountant and now I cook barbecue and, I lead worship part time and I do, these things. And it's like, I want to be known for those things, right? When I was doing beatbox, like, I wanted to be known. I wanted to know that I was ranked top 10 in the world at one point. Like, that was a cool thing to know. What did it do for me? Probably nothing. But, it was cool to know. And I
Yeah.
love traveling and meeting people and doing all this stuff and making a difference in that way. But I'm like, if I'm not making a difference in the people's lives that count on me or in the people that are in front of me, if I'm not fully present in the moment. And that's one thing about my dad. My dad is spectacular at that, dude. He is. When you're talking to my
Yep.
dad, you are the most important person right then. And he's so good at it. And I'm like, it
I
could be
love
the
that.
waiter, and that person is the most important person. So, but being present in the moment, because there's been so many times that I've been present in the presence. My presence is there, but I'm not there, and I've missed out, and my kids knew it, or the people that I was hanging out with for the night knew it. I was 100 miles away. So because I'm thinking about work, or I'm thinking about, I got to get done with it. I can't wait to be done with this because I got to get back on and check more emails and send some more wires. It's like, that's not what it's about. It's not what it's about. It's about,
I love
what do I do? Am I known for this, or am I known for being a good man? Am I known for being somebody that pays attention? Am I known for being a fantastic dad that when he says he loves his kids 100%? He does anything he can. He loves his wife. He loves talking to people and making a difference in people's lives. Talking to Tony tonight,
absolutely.
Hanging out, getting something from Tony, trying to give something back to Tony, like
you have. Don't worry about that. Yeah, you definitely have.
So,
thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So that's what it's about. And I learned that too late. I say too late. It's never too late, right? We know that.
It's never too late. No, you
start out and hit it and get it. So,
and it was just a little bit to wrap it up here too. It was just it's beautiful what you're saying, and if there's any message I can convey today, it's like you said, everything intentionally, and it's never too late is actually what I was gonna say before you said it, and that's the word. I mean, it's life is short. Make it intentional. I'm going to steal your word. I'm telling you, I like that a lot.
Do it.
And just make the most of it. I'm the same way as you. I want to make a difference, but if there's one person I could touch and I can help through something, then I've done my job. But also, I want to be there for the ones that love me and that I love as well too.
Sure.
So, if I'm not there for them, like you said earlier, what am I really doing?
Yeah.
So, that's to me what life is really about, and that's the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
To be present in those moments and to take care of everybody, but to take care of myself as well, and to make sure that the people I love know that I love them as well.
Yeah.
So, Tony, to wrap it up here, if there's anything else you want to say or to get out there, or where they get, if you have a website or anything, people could get a hold of you to maybe do something like this as well, or to find the podcast, go ahead.
Yeah. So Lessons from the Pits, the podcast, by Tony Brown. So, that would be the place to start for the podcast, and that we're going to talk about the lessons on all of that. But I have a website, but I have, if you don't mind, I've got, the 10 lessons in a PDF format that they can download. They can go out and put their email in and download that. So that's, just lifearoundthepit.com/10 lessons. So the number 10 lessons. I think that'd be great. Like it gives them the 10 lessons and then a few things just to kind of go along with that. You check me out on social media, Life Around the Pit TV on Facebook, and Life Around the Pit at Instagram. But I just want to say, like, low and slow, that's barbecue, and low and slow, and nothing, personal growth, life lessons, changes. It doesn't, you don't cook brisket in 20 minutes. So it takes time, and it takes time to get it right. It takes time and intentionality and paying attention to the details. And so, all of this, trying to be present, if you don't get it right the first time, it's fine. Just keep on. So it's low and slow. And that's growth. So I'd say that's where I want.
Every day's a new day.
Every day's a new day. Yeah. So start a fire, season some meat, and make a legacy, create a legacy.
Well, once again, Tony, thank you for being on, brother. I appreciate it. For everybody listening, thank you guys, and see you next time.
Thank you. See you.